And here we go. All right, then. This is another episode of the Uncivilized Art podcast. I'm your host, Blumi Hazan, but I go by Bandit Haze in the online space. And today, my guest, Mikey, I think. I guess is that the new name? Because it was. Am I allowed to say the old name?
I don't care.
All right, so care. Mikey, I suppose, and that was Mikey, I think. Yeah, Mikey, appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me for a little bit. We're going to talk about you, what you've been doing, what you've been not doing, and all kinds of stuff. But real quick, before we get into into all of that, just let the people know who you are. Like, who is your Mikey, I think?
All right, cool. Well, first off, I am, I guess, MikeyiThink, or Mikey Melowitz, or Mikey, I suppose. I don't really have anything specific. I don't really be on there like that anymore, but just call me Mikey, I guess. And in a nutshell, I like to make videos and, write. That's basically what I focus on nowadays is those two. And yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, let's go back to the beginning, because I think when I first met you online, I mean, it must be going back to like 2013, 13. Yeah, like that. It's got to be like good 10 years ago now. And, I was making videos, you were making videos, and I forget who approached. I think you might have approached me, if I remember correctly. I can't remember who approached who. But
I know exactly what happened.
Okay.
I know exactly what happened.
Okay, in that case.
Because it's funny. I thought about this more. I was like, man, I kind of want to bring this up, but I don't know if you even want to talk about it. But I was like, man, I remember when we first met, and it was through SoundCloud. Well, you discovered me through SoundCloud, I think, or I think it was YouTube. And it was a song I uploaded. Keep in mind, I was only like 13. I was making music off of Magix, and I uploaded that. And I remember you were the first one to comment on it, and I was like, I don't know who this person is, but that's cool, And so that's kind of how we met in a way. And I think not too long after, I think I peeked into your channel, so maybe I was like kind of snooping around a little bit, and so I think that's how we kind of knew about each other. And I remember there was a point you were asking to use some of my music or something like that. I think that's how I took off from there, to my knowledge at least. That's how I remember it.
Yes, and I do remember that. I was doing spoken word at the time, and I'd written a piece, and I wanted some music. And I remember it was a piece about The Last of Us, and I got you to do the music for it, and yeah, you did, and we made something pretty cool with that. Man, I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. I'm sure it's on the channel, one of my YouTube.
I still have it.
But you still? Oh, nice.
I still have it. I have so I have the audio version that I made, and then I remember. Because what we did was, you recorded the actual piece. Yeah. And then I already had the music, and then I basically put your piece over it. So I kind of did a little bit of effects to it and whatnot. But yeah, I have the audio version, and I have your version too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's some old school stuff. But yeah, so when you, you started with music then, or did you start with something else?
It was just music. I mean, it wasn't anything I took serious. It was just, I was just messing around, always making music. And I was like, let me just upload it. And I'm glad I did, because nowadays I look back at it. And even though my channel, I get to that later, but a lot of my videos aren't on my channel anymore. I have it all, unlisted. Mm-hmm. But because, it's my channel, I could still go back and go over like all those musics and stuff that I made. Yeah. So it's good as far as like nostalgia, Some of it's kind of cringy to listen to now, but it's still cool,
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's part of the growth of a creative, though, especially like when you start so young. You come back to it 5-10 years later. You look back at it like, yo, what the hell was I thinking? But it's part of, that's who you were at that time. It's kind of like a photograph, it's like that's your mind, like a photograph of what was going on in your mind at that moment in history. And that's the cool thing about it,
Yeah, indeed, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was music. And then eventually I was always making videos too. I was. I remember I was always using my, imagine like an iPhone. What was it? An iPhone 4 I had at the time. I was always using that to record and stuff like that. And then, father got me an actual camera, and that's when I started actually making videos. So I was always making those too. So yeah, it was always kind of a mix between both. And then, and also writing. I was always writing too. Matter of fact, hold on. Okay, let me see. This is the very first book I wrote in.
Okay.
The very first book. It's old as hell, but like, it's like I remember I was in middle school and I just started writing, and to this day, this very book, I'm still writing about. Basically rewriting it, basically. Yeah. So
okay, so you haven't filled the book, or is that you just like filled it up and?
Yeah, I filled it up. There's like a million of these books from like middle school that I wrote in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's so cool that you kept that though.
Oh, I had to. This meant a lot to me. I mean, there were times where I was like in math class, for example, and they would literally take up my book because I wasn't paying attention in class. Like, I'm over here writing my story, and they're like, well, he's not paying attention, so they had to take the book. Now I'm like, I'll get mad. I'm like, man, you can take my phone, but not my book. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. But yeah, I had to keep those books because I still write. So what I do now, everything that I've written, like in middle school, high school, my writing wasn't the best, but the concept was still there. So now what I'm doing is basically rewriting the whole series that I managed to create back then.
Okay.
So I'm actually trying to, yeah.
Those are stories that you like, characters and things that you. Okay. Mm-hmm, do you intend on publishing them, or what's the plan with those?
Oh, 100% indeed. I definitely want to publish them. When, I don't know, because trying to manage work and everything. But that's definitely something I want to do. And not to get all dark, but that's one of my main goals, to have these books published before I pass away or something. I just something to have my legacy out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. It's my plan.
Okay.
So yeah.
So with that then, so you kind of started writing. Like, what was it that for you just kind of made you want to, pick up the pen, get a book, and start jotting down? Like, did something happen, or was it just like a series of thoughts you had? Like, how did that kind of come about?
You ever played Kane Lynch Dog Days?
Yes.
A lot of people didn't like that game. Yeah, the second one. The first one was. I never played the first one. Yeah. So you don't like Dog Days, right? Is that what you're saying?
From what I remember, the first one was pretty decent, but I remember the second one not so much being that interesting. It was a long time ago. I'm sure I've forgotten loads about it, but I don't remember it being very enjoyable.
I'm gonna play Devil's Advocate. I love that game, and the reason being, so a lot of people when they played it, they're just like, "What the hell is this?" And I understand why the mechanics were pretty trash. The dialogue and everything was kind of all over the place, but I kind of by the time I finished the game, I realized what the intention was, and I fell in love with it. I love the fact that it was very gritty, it was very raw, and it was uncut. The whole point of the game was like you're looking through a lens and you're seeing these two guys desperate to make a change. I think the whole plot was them trying to. Oh, it was like a whole business proposal, trying to I think make a drug trade or something like that, but it went wrong, and now they were trying to escape Shanghai. It was desperate. They were basically wanted by the whole city, and it was told in a very wonky way. The game was probably not the best. It was glitchy. I mean, actually, honestly, it was terrible. But I saw through that, and I loved it. And so I remember I finished the game, the ending, and I was like, man, this was crazy. And so I'll never forget the next day I was in math class, and I'm not the brightest when it comes to math, even to this day. So I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, man, I kept thinking about that damn game. And so there was at one point, I'm like, you know what? What if I was in that situation? What if me or my best friend, or, what I'm saying? And so I thought about it was a lot of what ifs. And I was like, you know what? I can't draw. I can't make a movie. I can't do any of this, but and I can't write, but that's the closest I could think of to expressing, that fantasy. So I picked up this very book, and I started writing in it. And ever since then, it took off. It took off as in I just kept on writing. I wrote the first book. Next thing you know, I was writing a second book, third book, fourth book. It all went from there. But that's literally how it all started, basically.
That's man. Who'd have thought Kane Lynch?
Yeah, I know. I even wrote a review on it on Steam.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I really don't remember much about the game. I just remember it not being very enjoyable. But it's crazy to think that this game that so many people didn't like, and that game had its own controversies as well, of course. But that's the game that started it all. But just goes to show that inspiration and could just come from anywhere, really. From the most what's the word I'm looking for? Unthinkable. That's not right. But yeah, I think you know what I mean. Unlikely. There you go. The most unlikely places. Yeah. So what inspires you now then? So the stories that you write, okay, that kind of starts it off as being thinking about what if you're in a situation. So in terms of like creativity now, like how do you find inspiration, or do you find inspiration and you just write? Well, like, because there's different when it comes to writing. I know there's kind of different kind of approaches that people take. Whether it's just like free flow writing, or whether it's like you've got to go to the favorite. What's your kind of like thing that you do, or do you even have a thing? Like, how does that work for you?
So as far as like kind of keeping that drive for writing, if that's what you're asking, watching movies, playing certain video games, it can be anything really, or just looking at a picture or listening to a certain song that can like, I'm wiping my glasses, but little stuff like that helps me, it kind of keeps that inspiration going. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll have like a huge writer's block and, I don't touch the story for a while just to kind of take a break from it. But then there'd be that one time, that one song or that one movie I watch and I'm like, okay, it's time to get back into writing, It's long story short, that's what helps, stuff like that. Like I got to keep myself, always watching something or reading something, that's what helps. Because sometimes when you're writing that story, sometimes you kind of forget the whole purpose of it. And sometimes you just need like something to kind of not compare, but something to, you just got to look at someone else's, how can I explain it? Someone else's story and see how they were able to, keep theirs going, So that's what helps for me.
Okay, no, I get that. Like, I remember one of the things that people used to say on the sort of poetry circuit that I used to be on was the best writers are the best readers. So yeah, just the idea of I guess when you're reading a story or watching a movie or something, it's just like things that click. Just like in you play that game, Kane Lynch, just something that clicked. I guess it's just that sort of thing, and you just keep that going. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. I don't want to go back to that topic of Kane Lynch, but like, you ever played Manhunt?
No, well, not completely anyway.
I think so. Obviously, not a lot of people like Kane Lynch, but I think part of the reason why a lot of people like it is the fact that it's like not like Manhunt, but Manhunt was such a gritty and very. It had the same kind of concept. Like, it was very uncut. Like, it was gritty and just dark, and Kane Lynch was sort of the same way, there was a point in the game where Lynch, he had a girlfriend, and there was a point where you went all your way to try to save her because she was getting captured, and by the next scene, I guess, spoiler alert, she gets killed, and brutally. I'm not even going to say it because YouTube and the way 2023 is, you get canceled for anything, but she gets it pretty bad, and so. Yeah, I don't know. You gotta watch a gameplay or something. Just watch the cutscenes, and you'll see what I mean. Like, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to play that game again or something, and maybe maybe my opinions. No, I we'll see.
I know it's yeah.
But yeah, okay. So how did you go? Well, how did you get into music then? Like, how did that start?
Um. Okay. Well, I guess rolling it back to 2013. I think I just randomly downloaded Magix, and I was just messing around with it, and basically messed around with that, and ended up coming out with the song that you heard and another song. And like I said, it wasn't anything that I took serious. It was just me messing around with it, and I was, just put it up there. But over time, I kind of was really liking it. I like the fact that, I was able to put, this sample and that sample together, and all of a sudden it turns into this, and that's kind of what got me into it, I would say I kind of took it more serious around 2015-ish, and that's when I was coming out with like Lost Collection and Reverie and all those songs that I came out with, like on Bandcamp. Basically, when I was releasing songs on Bandcamp, I was not taking it serious, but I was really into it at the time. That's when I was like really like coming out with songs like more often. But yeah, I mean, that's what got me into it, was like just simply downloading the application, back in 2013, and all of a sudden I'm just making music, But I've always wanted to use like FL Studio and everything, but I couldn't. I was so used to the tools of Magic, I couldn't grasp onto FL Studio. Not to mention it was really expensive, and all I could really do was just download the trial. And I think with the trial, you can only do like a certain amount of things, so I just couldn't really get into it. So I just kept using Magix.
Yeah, no, I've used Magix actually, and it's, I guess to be fair, it's made more for the beginners, so you can get into it quite easily. But yeah, if you look at something like FL Studio or any of the sort of more higher end softwares, like it's just like what I mean? It's like
it's endless
and
endless
knobs and you just look at it like I think I need like to do like a 5-year course for this or something. It's
and I watch tutorials. I'm like, okay, I'll try to follow the tutorial, and it just goes downhill from there. I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell this person just did. I don't even know where to go. Let me just go back to this. But then, it's crazy though, because the last few songs I literally made, it was complex for no reason because of the way Magix is. So like, there came a point where I stopped using samples, and I literally was just pulling different samples and stuff from the internet. So like, I would download like what do you call it? A sound pack, I guess. But it wasn't like the sound pools. It was like hi-hats and like drums and just separate like little sound bits. And I'll literally make whole songs from that. But the way Magix is created, it's kind of complicated. Like they don't exactly make it easy for you. So like you have to make sure you got to make sure the tempo is correct. And sometimes they'll just mess it up for you. And sometimes they'll just go downhill. It's like I'll have to keep essentially what's the word? I'll have to keep exporting it and then moving over to a new project, and then so I was doing a whole lot of work for no reason, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, and I think I remember that actually. Like with Magix, like if you're using their samples, you're fine. It's made for it. That, like you said, the tempo, it's all set up, blah blah blah. You're golden, and you could do some pretty cool stuff within that. But yeah, once you start trying to use your own sounds or import sounds from different places, or just trying to do things a bit, more say outside of what they give you. You're right. I remember that. I remember just like it, because it's not really. I mean, it's not that you can't do it, but you just have to find ways around it, and like I say, just get so unnecessarily complicated, and before you know it, you're exporting, re-importing, and it's long. It's it's just more work to it. That's all. So, but yeah, that's why I don't really make much music now, because it's the way I am with making music wasn't how I was back in the day, where like, oh, let me just plug this in, see how this sounds. Like, oh, okay, I like this. But now when I try to make music, it's like I can't just do that anymore. It's like I want it to sound more better. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be more innovative. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that I quit, but it's just like the songs that I made, I enjoy listening to those. I just kind of keep it at that. So it's like more like stuff for yourself now, and rather than to.
I've always made it for myself. Yeah. I've always made it for myself. It was the same thing with writing. Like I all the stuff that I do is just for myself. Same thing with, making videos and everything. Like, it's not to say that, I'm being selfish, but like, I don't really have like a following. It's just, I don't expect people to watch it. I just, all this stuff that I make is, it's just something for me. Like, I feel like if you're gonna put yourself out there as far as creativity, you have to like it yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How are other people supposed to enjoy it if you don't enjoy it yourself? You know what I'm saying? I feel like, do you see where I'm getting at? Like, I feel like that's the best way to make the, really good content is if you enjoy it,
Yeah, so. 100%. I agree with that. It has, I mean, you have to be happy with it. And I think like first, because it's very easy like to kind of fall into these way of thinking of where somebody likes your stuff, maybe a few people like your things, and you're like, okay, cool, they like this, and then you kind of do more of that. And I know I've kind of fallen into that as well at various points where it's like, oh, people like this, you tend to do more of that thing, and that's not strictly speaking a bad thing, but it takes you away from the things that you want to do. And if you're more creative minded, it's very difficult to do that because you're always wanting to do something else. You're always wanting to, you don't want to just be like, oh, because part of your brain is like, okay, I've done that already, now I want to do something else. When you start doing the same things over and over again, it gets very kind of like, it's almost like, I know how to go ahead to strike, but it feels like the hardest thing in the world. It's not. But it feels like it's the hardest thing in the world to just keep doing that same thing because people like it. Because all the time you're like, I want to do that, And even though that thing, maybe nobody cares about it, but it's like, I want to do that. And you just constantly like, I want to do that. But so yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get what you mean.
I love the shirt, by the way. I just realized you were wearing that. I gotta love it. Beavis and Butt-Head, they go hard.
Yeah, man. One of my favorites of like all time ever represented.
I forget, they made a whole movie. Beavis and Butt-Head go to LA or something. I forgot what happened. I know they were going like across state from state or something like that. I forgot what it was. I gotta look that up.
There's actually 2 movies now. So the one you're thinking of is called Beavis and Butt-Head Do America. The other movie, the second movie, is called Beavis and Butt-Head. Oh, I forgot what it's called. Shit.
I know. It's because we love them, but I can't think of it right now.
We actually we talked about it on the podcast a little while back as well. But that it's a Paramount movie, so you got to have Paramount Plus to watch the new one. It's a good film.
Oh, they just came out. They just came out with a new one.
Yeah, it was like last year. It came out like last year sometime. Was it last year or this year? I can't remember. But it's recent. It's recent. But yeah, it's pretty good. And they got a whole new series as well. In fact, they got a brand new series 2 just released. I haven't watched the series 2 yet though. I've only watched the first one. I've got to resubscribe to Paramount Plus.
I'm gonna check that out.
To watch the second series. But
I know I've seen a couple of little. I know I've seen a little bit of like bits on YouTube. I think it was like MTV or something, or I forget wherever they released their content under. But I remember seeing them. Oh, they were doing like reactions. It was like reactions to things that were happening in the modern world. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I thought they were done making like Beavis and Butt-Head. So that's pretty cool. But I didn't mean to jump off topic. I just thought that was
no, it's cool. It's so good. It's so good. A little off topic ain't no problem. But I was just thinking, it kind of occurred to me, like Beavis and Butt-Head. I don't know if they were the very first, but they must be at least amongst the first people to do like what we call reaction videos now. And they were like taking a piss at the music videos and stuff like that back in the day. And
yeah, I guess so, because they were definitely doing it way back when.
Yeah, I mean, technically it wasn't a reaction. Of course, it's written, it's scripted, but as far as the show goes, they were reacting to what they saw on TV. And maybe not the very first, but I feel like they must be amongst the first. Certainly for people, say my age, I think they must be amongst the first. But yeah, they started a monster. That's what. But yeah, so I put down skating in my notes because I'm pretty sure I remember you being a skater. But I don't. I guess it's a bit hard to find now. But was you a skater, or did I just completely make that up?
So yeah, I still skate. I'm not like I can't really do tricks or anything. I just typically like cruise, and everything I do always evolves around skating. We're like, oh, we're gonna go hang out. Let me go grab my board type stuff, you know. So I wouldn't say I'm exactly like a skater in terms of, you know, I'm always doing tricks, but I would say I'm like a cruiser. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like always going out, just doing stuff with my board. Um, but yeah, as far as skater, yeah, that's basically what that entails. If that makes sense. So,
Okay.
but yeah.
I guess okay, kind of just like hang out with friends and just you got a board with you,
Mm-hmm.
kind of roll in.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you intend on or do you plan on learning any tricks or
I would like to. I'm just
any
afraid
stunts?
of losing my head doing that in the process. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little. I feel like I'm kind of past trying to. I mean, it's never too late, but I feel like if I was to learn, I should have learned like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
I was trying to, but I'm overthinking everything, and I'm always afraid that I'm gonna like break an arm or something like that because I never actually really like I've crashed and bailed, but not to the point where like I've broken an arm or messed up my leg or anything. So I don't
mm.
know. I feel like me being able to have good control with the board is the best I can do. You know, just cruising. I'm gonna just keep it at that for now. So, but who knows, man? I don't know. Maybe when I reach my 30s, all of a sudden I'm, you know, pulling off kickflips and whatnot. So
Hey,
we'll
never
see.
say never, man. Never say never.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually learned one trick on a skateboard. I don't know if I can still do it because it's been so long now. But back when as you skate a little bit as well, and I learned one trick, and it's the most basic trick ever, where you place the board upside down on top of your feet, and then you just jump and land on the board. Um,
Yeah, I don't know what the trick is called, but I would try to do that too. Cause like you have the board upside down and you would jump and the board would like flip in like a million
yeah,
different directions, and all of a sudden you would just pray and hope that you land on the board.
yeah, you definitely still got
So
to be careful. It's an easy, well, I say easy. It's easy compared to a lot of other tricks,
mhm.
but yeah, you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
got
it's
to be
easy to kind of
careful.
grasp on. It's like, oh, let me just jump and hope I can just land it, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I gotta look up what that trick is called. I gotta look that up.
Did you ever play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater back in the day?
Man, did I? Man, I played all of them. My favorite was Tony Hawk's Underground. Tony Hawk's
Tony
Underground.
Hawk. Wait, was that like the fifth one or something, or the sixth?
That was yeah, actually yeah, that was the fifth one.
Fifth.
That was
Okay.
so yeah, because you have Tony Hawk's Underground, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, 3, and then 4, and then that's when they start to branch off into different concepts. And Underground, yeah, that'll be the fifth title if we're not counting the DS version and whatnot.
Oh, right.
Um,
Okay.
so, but yeah, that's the fifth title. Actually, I have the PSP versions. I have the PS2 versions. I even have the PS3 versions. Not of Underground, but like just every variation of Tony Hawk. I don't want to say I'm a fan, but I definitely love the series for sure, for sure. Definitely do.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I played up to Tony Hawk's 4, and
mhm.
then that's kind of when I tapped out. Because Tony
Yeah.
Hawk's, I think Tony Hawk's 2 Pro Skater was the first one that I played. I went back later and played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but I think 2, if I remember correct, was the actual first one that I played,
Mhm.
and that was amazing. That was great.
Mhm.
And then Tony Hawk's 3 was pretty cool. And I think Tony Hawk's 4 was called American Wasteland. Um,
Yeah. Wait. You said 4?
yeah,
Which one?
Tony Hawk's 4
I
was that
think
called American Wasteland?
so. We got.
Oh,
I know it like the back of my hand. So we have
okay,
Underground. That was the fifth one. Underground 2. That was the sixth title, and then American Wasteland was no. Actually, I think it was because then you have Project 8 and then Proving Ground. Yeah, American Wasteland was the seventh title, I believe.
okay,
And then it was yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I know what you're trying to say though. American Wasteland was pretty good too.
yeah.
Um, which one was your favorite though?
I would say between 1 and 2. Probably go with 2 as my favorite. But to be honest, I did feel like by the time maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I do remember playing American Wasteland, and to be honest, I remember not liking that
Mm-hmm.
very much at all. But to be fair, I think one of the problems I had with it was that the version I had It was supposed to be like a HD, because it's back when the HD was new. You know what I mean? It's all 4K, whatever now. But back when the HD was new, it was supposed to be like the HD version of it.
On Xbox.
I think
they released an HD version on Xbox. I've always wanted to play that one.
Yeah, Xbox 360, I want to say.
Yeah, but I think you can only get it through like disc or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but the things that it just looks so awful, because like it wasn't really. I mean, I guess it was originally made in standard definition, whatever, and they're supposed to upscale it, but they maybe didn't do it properly. It just looked awful, like the textures, the characters, it looks so awful. And the game
kind of like GTA San Andreas, like the mobile version, where it's just like
I don't know if you've seen like the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 that just got released now. Have you seen those pictures going around? Imagine I was just watching a video like 15 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago. Like that's kind of like what it was.
I see what you mean.
But yeah, it's terrible.
It's funny, because the thing is, that isn't as bad as how it is now. Well, actually, 1 and 2 that just came out, well, that was like a few years now, like maybe 2 years now when it came out. That was awesome. But before that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. By the way, that's my roommate, by the way, in case you hear him. But before that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, and then what was it? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. Like literally, I think it was the first game, but it was remade in HD. But it was made by Robomoto, and that was kind of like the downfall of Tony Hawk for a hot minute, because it didn't have the same feel of playing, like, for example, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I would say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Underground 2 was like the most recognized as far as like the controls. That was like the peak, because you can get off your board, you can wall ride, you can hand slap to like so say you ride into a wall, you can hand slap and then immediately turn around and go like the other way. They had so many different mechanics. That was like the peak of it. But when Robomoto came out with their versions of Tony Hawk, they kind of like just went back like a million steps. It was terrible. But when 1+2 came out, they didn't introduce all those mechanics back, but they brought back mechanics that were comfortable enough to like pull off like a lot of combos and everything, you know? So have you ever played 1+2?
No. I think the last one I played was actually, maybe it was 1+2. I don't remember, but I remember it was some kind of re-release or redone. It was like I think it was on one of the Xboxes. I'm sure, like as a downloadable game, where it was like maybe a redoing of the first game or something. I played it for a little bit. It was but I think by the time that came around, I was probably like just done with Tony Hawk's. I just wasn't getting into it as much as I used to. You know,
yeah, that makes sense.
Back in like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, maybe up to 3, is like probably my peak of Tony Hawk's, where I was playing like almost nothing but that game, and it was so cool the way you'd be on the board and you do the tricks, and you just really feel, especially if you could like pull off the combos and like string them together, and you just really feel like you're skating almost, you know. It's such a cool experience. But yeah, that was that. I think after 3, well, if not, I guess I missed 4 then if it wasn't American Wasteland, but definitely by the time I got to American Wasteland, it was just like, it just wasn't doing it for me. And then whatever. I know they released one that he had to buy a board for that, you know, he had to buy
Shred and Tony Hawk Ride and Shred. Yeah, I never.
Yeah,
it was too gimmicky. But the people, I would say that as far as like the community, I would say like the hardcore fans of Tony Hawk, 1+2 was done right, because the thing was, it was all about the feel of it, the tactile, like just being able to just pick up the controller and just, you know, pull off combos like it was nothing, like it was back in the day, you know. And so when that game came out, people appreciated it. I wish they would keep making more. I don't, you know, it was by Activision. Now they don't. The people that the team that they had making the game, I guess they dispersed and now they're doing other stuff. But people loved it because it felt just how it was like back in the day. And I think the reason for that, they were able to find the the source code. I don't know how they did it, but they were able to find the original source code that they made like Tony Hawk's Underground 2 or etc. with, and that's how they were able to make it like, as good as it was back then, So I don't know. Whenever you get the chance, definitely try it again. And because you say your favorite is like maybe like two, like one or two, right?
Yeah.
So literally it was 1 plus 2. Like, whoever loved one and 2, that's like the gold mine right there. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, I think they added like a few more other things. So, but yeah.
Yeah. What was the last Tony Hawk's game? Because they haven't made one for a long while, haven't they?
That was the last one, 1 plus 2.
1 plus 2 was
I guess the one before that would be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which was complete ass. Complete was terrible.
Yeah, because that was a period where, like, every year there'd be a new Tony Hawk's game. Like every year there was like a new game, and then I guess they just kind of ran out of ideas after a while, which is what happens when you do these yearly releases.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right, because I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, at this point, if I were them and they were still trying to at least capitalize on the series, just remake them. But I mean, the thing is, I mean, that's what it is nowadays. It's just a whole bunch of remakes and remasters, right? But the thing is, they would have to do it right. You don't want to. The way they did 1 plus 2, they can easily keep on with the way they made that game, and then they can apply that with like 3 and 4, and then proceed with the Underground and Underground 2 and so on. I don't know how far they would want to go, but I would say like the most popular games, just remake those, But I don't know. That's my 2 cents. If they was to come out with Underground 2, a remake, that'd be amazing. Or Underground and Underground 2, that'd be amazing. I would love that.
Do you think there's anybody else in the skate world that could attach their name to a game? Because of course Tony Hawk's was a big star, but he still is pretty famous. He's still pretty well known. But he's like 50 something now. So who's like? Do you watch skating? I'm kind of assuming a little bit, I suppose. But is there anybody in the skate world that you think could be the next potential for a game deal thing?
So there is this one skater I know. I forgot his name. You ever seen Mid-90s?
No, think so.
Well, okay, I know. I can probably piece this together for you. You played God of War, right?
Yes.
We're talking the latest one that came out, God of War Ragnarok and everything. Okay, I never really played them, but I'm familiar with the actors. Right. The guy who plays, what's his name? He's the son of Kratos. I forget his name.
Atreus. I mean, it's Atreus, but yeah, I don't know the actor's name though.
The actor of him, he was in Mid-90s, which was like a skateboard movie made by, what the hell is his name? Jonah Hill, or let me do my research real quick to make sure. Director Jonah Hill. Yeah, it was directed by Jonah Hill, and the actor of Atreus, he played in that movie, and then. But my point is, in Mid-90s, there was this one skater. I feel like he would be a pretty good person to have as a face for another game, another skateboarding game. But I guess in the past you had like Skate, and then you've had I'm trying to think of some other skateboarding game that's out there. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know that this guy that I'm talking about. Let me see. Let me look him up real quick for better context. Because the thing about skateboarding is that, when they come out with like, these competitions, there's just so many of them. It's like football. Like you can have so many people on one team, you don't even know who the hell one of them, can be. But here we go. His name is Nikel Smith. I feel like he would be kind of cool to have, as the face of a new skateboarding game. Okay. But he was in
I see him. Okay.
Yeah. But he's a really good skater. He can pull off any trick in the book, But he's pretty notable in the community. Like, people love him. So I feel like it would be cool if he was. Yeah, that's him right there. That's him. But yeah, he played in mid '90s. It was cool. He was also like in a couple. I think he was in a music video with I forget the singer's name, but yeah, I don't want to go too far off topic, but yeah, he's pretty notable. Is what I'm trying to say. I feel like it would be cool if he was one of them.
Nickel Smith, potentially something to look out for, and something to look out for in the world. Okay, so with all that then, and you've done some skating, you've done music, you're a gamer, and you're writing, and then eventually you start post into the YouTube space, and you're posting videos on YouTube, and I'm watching some of them, and commenting and liking all that. And
I've seen them.
Then one day, not so much posting on YouTube. So for you, what was the journey like from getting into YouTube? We started posting on YouTube, and then decided to kind of take a break from that.
Really, it just came down to as far as getting into it, it was. That's actually a good question. I don't know. I guess because it was the fact that I was already posting music and everything, and then posting videos I was making with my friends, and so there came a point where I was like, you know what, let me try doing gameplays, or there was a point where I was interacting with a lot of other YouTube creators. I was also doing videos with them, so it was all kind of just a heat of the moment thing. It wasn't me actually really wanting to do it. Not that I didn't like it or anything. It was cool. It just happened, so me, all of a sudden just not doing it, just kind of going ghost mode. It was just the fact that YouTube was my priority. That's all. Sometimes there came a point where work got in the way, and I just had other stuff going on that, to simply put it, YouTube was just a side thing.
Right.
So to answer your question, it was just just less of a priority. That's all. Okay. If there came a point where I was like, okay, if I made a video that I just happened to really enjoy, and I was like, oh, let me go ahead and just throw it up on YouTube, that's all it was. So, but yeah.
Okay. So, no, that's fair. That's life happens, and you tend to put the things down that aren't as important. I get that. But then, I guess I've noticed it recently, but I guess it's been a little while now. You started posting a few videos again, like edits and stuff like that. Was there a reason you decided to start doing that again? Because I think you mentioned that you've been making edits anyway, and that's
So one of the specific reasons why I stopped uploading, at least to my Mikey Mellows channel, is because so I uploaded a mix. It was a house mix, and it was called the Elf. Well, I call it the Elf Collection, but it's with 2 E's. And the reason I did that was because the channel that the videos were originally uploaded on, it got taken down, and I was like, damn, I used to play all these videos every morning, or just I was always playing them in the background, when I'm just chilling out or whatever. And it kind of hurt to see that YouTube just gutted that channel out of nowhere. They just terminated it. And so I was like, well, to hell with that, I'm about to put these videos back up. So it's exactly what I did, and that video blew up. And it was out for about maybe 2 years, and actually my channel was actually terminated for a bit. I forgot why, but I was able to bring it back up. It was a misunderstanding, so I was able to bring it back up, and so the video was back on air, and so it ended up blowing up. So now it's at over, I think it's over 300,000 views. I forget, but the point is that my channel was starting to get a lot of attention for, I want to say, the wrong reasons, but that's pretty much what it was. It was getting attention for the wrong reasons. And so I delisted a lot of videos that I had on there, and I kind of narrowed it down to just a few, videos that kind of matched the vibe of, house music and whatnot. And that's why the channel I use now, I upload all of my, just videos that I don't really care that people see, but if they're there, they're going to see it. It's like I said, it's just for me. So that's why, like, in the description, I call it the video archives, because it's just like there for like memory purposes and just nostalgia and everything. And so that's kind of like the whole story behind, like, me uploading all of a sudden, and like why I have like multiple channels and whatnot. So, but yeah.
But it's really cool what you're doing, though. Like I watched the videos, like these sort of mini vlogs that you're making, or made rather, I guess, because some of them from some years back. But these kind of mini vlogs of you hanging out with your friends, kind of goofing around a little bit, going places, eating or whatever, skating sometimes, to just kind of hang out. And I think out of the ones I've seen, at least anyway, they don't have like talking in them, so you don't necessarily know what's going on. It's just like almost like a snapshot of just a group of people just hanging out and chilling. And I feel like there's such a kind of cool thing that creates, and especially because they're only like a minute to maybe 3 minutes long. Watching them is like, I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know if it's like you've watched like some of these like old movies from like the 80s or 90s, and that whole kind of nostalgia, like things like the what's that one? A good example of that was Stand By Me. Have you ever seen the movie Stand By Me? It's based on a Stephen King book, but about these friends kind of going off into the woods looking for a dead body. But it's just that kind of innocence of youth, even though I don't know how I don't think you're that young, but it's almost like that, just like guys hanging out and having fun. And
this right here,
that's the one. Yes, that's the one. Great movie. If you've not seen it, anybody who's not seen it, that's a highly recommended film. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of your videos have that kind of friends hanging out type vibe to it. It's just a really cool thing to watch, even though it's not for me. All for you.
Yeah,
still.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the thing is, like, when I started making videos, that's what I was doing. It was just me making videos with friends. And so to this day, I guess I'm still following that concept, just because at the end of the day, like, I'm always carrying my camera with me. As a matter of fact, this is all I use is where is that? The GoPro. Here we go. Yeah. End of the day, I always tend to carry these with me, my camcorder and the GoPro. And so, depending on what's going on and like what we're up to, I'll just pull out the camera or the GoPro, and I'll just just kind of just record the moment. I pick and choose when to do that, though, because sometimes I just want to live in the moment, and I don't always want to worry about trying to get the right angle. But a lot of times it's not hard to do. Like, I'll just hold the camera at a certain angle, and I'm still just doing my thing. But yeah, like, I don't know, I find it fun to just, I don't know, like, so when it comes time for me to edit, the first thing that I worry about is the music, because I don't know if you noticed, but when I, like, with my edits, it's going based off the song. So, like, maybe it'll change clips based off the beat, like the bass or a certain tempo or whatever. So the song is, like, really important to me. And not to mention, like, the vibe of it, it has to match, like, what's going on. And so, really, honestly, finding the song could take longer than actually putting the whole video together, because I'll have the song, and then I'll actually narrow down the song. So, like, for example, you hear, like, the full song, but in the video, it's, like, it's shortened. So sometimes it's like almost like going back into like Magic's Music Maker, where I'm like trying to make it sound a certain way. So sometimes I'll have to like fade it out, or try to blend it a certain way to make it sound more smoother, because it's been shortened. So a lot of it goes into just editing the song, and then the video portion is like a whole different part of it. So I'm not saying it's a lot of work, but I kind of make it a lot of work for no reason. So it's just how it is.
Where do you mostly find songs from?
Music?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I use my friends for that. Like, I'll discover songs like off of video games, or movies or whatever, or just off the radio. But um, so my best friend, I have two like really close friends, right? And we made like a playlist and on Spotify or whatever. And so what we'll do is we'll just add songs into it every now and then. That's kind of how I get my music. And so sometimes I'll hear a song that they'll put out that I'm like, damn, this is good. And I'll just go on the artist page and it'll kind of go on from there, just, kind of like a little discovery thing. And then not to mention, I use Spotify. So like sometimes if I'm just, I'm on there, I'll see like hey, you should listen to this, So that's how I discover my music in a nutshell.
Okay, well, speaking of that, actually, in kind of a similar vein, because I follow you on Bandcamp, and so every now and then I get an email from Bandcamp saying Mikey Mannings has bought these songs, and we'd be like,
really?
A bunch of stuff that you bought on Bandcamp, I guess, over the last few months or whatever it was. But yeah. I get those, and I should probably check out some of them because I think you buy a lot of like sort of like electronic music by the looks of it, from what I can tell anyway, like a lot of kind of house electronic. In fact, what's the term actually? Vaporwave?
Yeah, that was one hell of a phase. Okay, so
okay.
The thing about Bandcamp is that I use that mostly for Vaporwave. Like if you look at my collection, it's mostly Vaporwave in a nutshell. But some of the songs I bought are like house music or for instance, Little Sims. It just depends because when it comes to Bandcamp, you don't really have to pay like, for Spotify or whatever, right? Like, well, I think if you upload on Spotify, you have to pay like some type of annual to keep it up or whatever. But on Bandcamp, you don't have to do that. You just upload it and you just put a price on it if you want to. But for Bandcamp, it's simply for songs that I just can't find, or to simply put it, if I want to support the artist really badly, I go on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
But that, when it comes to my Bandcamp collection, it doesn't really fully show everything that I listen to. Like, I think in a nutshell, I tend to listen to a lot of like indie rock, and lately I've been into like a lot of like 90s hip hop and like 90s rock in a nutshell, or like 90s and under. Yeah, when it comes to that, it's mostly Spotify that I'm really on, But yeah, I do tend to use Bandcamp every now and then. It just depends on, what's going on with that. So as far as like me trying to, yeah.
Yeah, I do like Bandcamp. I haven't bought much from it lately, to be fair, but I do like Bandcamp. I mean, like I say, it's a really good way to support independent artists through Bandcamp, because they give quite a lot of the fees that you pay to the artist, and they keep what they need to of course run the company and that kind of thing. And every now and then they do like their whole Bandcamp Fridays where they give everything to the artist. So that's a really cool thing to do. Bandcamp actually got bought over was it a couple of years ago, I think, by Epic. I think it was Epic Studios, the games company Epic.
Did it really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Epic. I might be blanking on the name, and I know at the time I might have to do my mini research as well.
Because if so, it might be on the Epic Game Store, maybe.
Bandcamp, Epic.
You might be.
Epic Games. This was what year was this? 2021.
Oh man!
But yeah, I remember at the time there was like a kind of a big hoo-ha about it, because like Epic being this like very corporate company, and Bandcamp being very much focused on independent artists, and that the two kind of values don't always align very well. So people kind of worried about what is this going to mean for Bandcamp going forward. And so far, I mean, to be fair, it's only been a couple of years, but so far as I can tell, they haven't messed it around too much, and Bandcamp seems to be able to still do what they do.
It seems like it's still the same. Like nothing's changed. Like I mean, they made improvements, for the better. But as far as like what Bandcamp is, essentially, it's still there. Like the soul of it is still there. So I see what you're saying. Like it's good that nothing has changed like drastically.
Yeah, not yet anyway. See how greedy they get.
Yeah, I guess we'll see, huh?
Only been a couple of years, so it might be too early.
Yeah.
All right then. There's before we wrap up, there's a couple of more questions I want to ask you.
Mhm.
First question is that I've noticed you got a tattoo on your arm.
Oh damn.
It looks like music notes. So I'm guessing there's
Yeah.
a story behind that. If you don't mind sharing.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny. Before the stream, I'm like, damn. I wonder if I should put on a hoodie or not. But the only reason I'm wearing a shirt right now is because I knew I was going to have the AC off just for the sake of the stream, and it was going to get a little bit hot. And in Washington, we don't have AC, so that's why. But yeah, I'm happy to show you. I'll give you the rundown.
So you got 3 tattoos.
So
Okay. Oh, you
yeah,
got loads of
so
tattoos. All right.
yeah, I got a lot like within the past month. I've always had these for like a while, but well, anyway. So I'll give you the rundown. So this is like a vinyl, like just a shirt with a dude holding a vinyl that's covering his face. Right here, this is the Gorillas, right? The band. Well,
Yes.
the group. This is Noodle. It's supposed to be Noodle. And then right here, this is supposed to be me and my best friend. Like this is literally like a picture we took, and I got like them to, do like an outline of the silhouette,
Hmm.
and they just, they was able to do that. And then this right here is literally my best friend's like his silhouette, and Scott Pilgrim, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So right here is the seven evil X's. So I literally
Ah.
just
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
that added, and then this right here is just a song. A lot of the stuff I have on me is like either music related or it's like this right here is a song. It's called True Love by 2814, which is Vaporwave. um, and then right here, see, hold on, let me just move the camera, make it easier. So right here, Unstable Minds, that's the video that it was like a couple days ago, I think. It was like last week. And it was a video with me and a bunch of friends. At some point in the video, it says Unstable Minds. And that's kind of like a little tribute to them. Like, they were, having them in my life was like, it meant a lot. There was some times where I was like really down and out, and they were just there for me. Um, and then more music stuff. Another one dedicated to my best friend. There was a song by Nero called Departure. And so I pretty much just I wrote the can't even talk. I wrote down the title of the song, and I literally Googled like swings because when we first discovered the song, we were swinging, like on the swing set or whatever. And so I looked up the icons, and so I literally just kind of like blended it in with the title. So I literally made this myself, and I just had them just tattoo it, and then just got a whole bunch of lines or whatever. Um, yeah, I mean, the whole arm is just basically just music related. Like I could go on forever about it. So I will say though, one I probably should show you that you might actually really enjoy. It's another Gorilla's tattoo. It's one on the back of my leg. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I should mention this was the most painful one too.
Okay, I can see. Yeah, that's coming through. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not Noodles as well, is it? It's not.
yeah. It's the whole group. I
It's
can
the
probably just
okay.
send you the actual picture, but it's the whole group. So on top you have. Actually, hold on. Let me see something real quick.
So Gorilla's one of your favorite bands, then, but I'm
I
guessing you
wouldn't
like the
say they're
Gorillas.
exactly my favorite, but I've listened to them a lot, and I just like their whole. I like their whole design. Like I just like the whole concept behind them. So that was why I, got that done. Let's see. I'm trying to look up the individual names real quick. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So at the top we have what the hell is his damn name? Oh, 2D. So
Hmm.
that's 2D, and then the guy under him is Murdoch. And then you have Noodle, and then Russell at the very bottom. So
Which one was
yeah, that was. Go ahead.
So yeah, I was gonna say which one was Damon Albarn?
Uh, not sure actually. You mean like the voice actor? What do you mean?
Yeah, Damon Albarn is one of the singer in Blur. No, sorry, he was the lead singer in Blur. Well, still is the lead singer in Blur, but he's also the lead singer in Gorillaz.
That's right. That's right. I think he does. I see what you're saying. I don't know exactly which one. I'm on Google right now. I'm cheating.
No
it doesn't exactly say which one. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not exactly a fan. Like, I don't know all the bits and all the facts about them. I just I like the Gorillaz, so I got them tatted on me.
Okay.
But yeah, so I have to look into that. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, my last question for you then, and perhaps the most important question I'm going to ask you today is: so yeah, we met on the internet 10-ish years ago, and back then your hair was more like this, and now it's more like this. What happened to the afro, dude?
I'm in the military, man. If I could have kept it, I would. I could have.
Oh, man,
I'm actually glad I cut it, though. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me see. I don't want to put my information out there. Actually, no, that's not a good idea. I was going to show you my license, but I don't know if I'll be able to cover all the information and stuff on it.
So, did you say you was in the military?
Yeah, I'm in right now.
Oh, you're.
That's why I have a room. Yeah, that's why I have a roommate and everything, and I'm like, it's like kind of like college. Like I'm like in a dorm and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like I don't know if the message you saw, but I'll be going to Korea soon because of it.
Oh, shit. Okay, I thought you were on holiday or something.
No. That's literally what I do. So, yeah.
So okay, are you training? Or you are qualified? I mean, I don't know how it works, but like, are you like?
I've been in for a few years now. The training was like, that's like the first thing you do when you're enlisting or whatever. But in a nutshell, like, I drive trucks and stuff like that. I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's basically what I do. Just operate trucks and shit like that. So.
No, wow, yeah, because I saw you said about you're gonna go. I think in a few weeks. I think you said you were gonna go, but I just figured it was like maybe you're gonna go on holiday. You're taking a break, see the world. Bro, in the military, raw. From making music to from writing, from playing a game that nobody liked, to be creative, to join it. That is a journey, dude.
Yeah, that's quite the way of piecing it together, but yeah.
Okay. I feel like I've got to ask, and hopefully you're if you're not allowed to say, I mean, I appreciate that, but
go ahead.
What was what made you want to join the military? Like, how did that come about?
So for one, I'm not really big on school. Like when I graduated from high school, I was so damn happy. I'm not really big on like sitting in a damn classroom and stuff like that. So I was working a few jobs, after that, and there came a point where I got into a car crash and it got totaled. That car got messed up, and I'm surprised I'm even alive. But it was like an eye opener. It was like, damn, where would I be? I don't know. I could have been dead basically, and so there was a point where I kind of had to really like think about what I want to do with my life since I'm not doing school or anything. And so, not too long, it was like a little bit before the crash. I was working at Walmart and there was this guy, it was a recruiter from the military that came up to me. I think I was pushing carts or something like that at the time. And he was like, hey, you should consider joining the military or whatever. And he handed me like the business card for it. And I'll never forget, I was like, yeah, definitely, I'll consider it. And, when he left, I threw the card away. I had no intentions of joining the military. Yeah. No intentions. But after that car crash, I really started to weigh in my options. Like, I really didn't have much going for myself other than, YouTube is not for everybody. Not everybody can, like, make a living off of it. So, not that I ever considered doing YouTube like that, but it was like, that was one of the things I was doing at the time was making videos and stuff like that, but I knew realistically it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I was like, yeah, I think the military might be worth looking into. And so went to a recruiter's office, talked to him, and I'm here. So, yeah.
Wow. And is there a plan to stay there, or is it more like, gaining skills and then using that in other areas?
Literally that. Basically just stay in until I kind of realize what I really want to do outside of it. And if not, I can always just stay in. I can always just, there's people that have been in the military for a long time till, damn near they're too old, So I'll probably plan on staying in for as long as I need to until I kind of realize what I really want to do outside of it. So yeah, I mean, it'll look good on my resume as far as like, leadership skills and whatnot. So, and not to mention I can take classes that can help me, get into a really good job outside of the military. So yeah.
Okay, no, for sure. I mean, I don't know a whole much about the military, unfortunately, but I do know that there are definitely a lot of skills you can learn by being in the military that you can use in other places. And yeah, once you kind of figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, I mean, I've kind of said this to people before about figuring yourself out where. Just try to find the things you enjoy, because we all got to work, we're all going to eat, we're all going to make money, and that's important. But try to find the things you enjoy, and that's going to guide you into the things you want to do. And then taking all the skills you learned from every job you've ever had, even from when you worked in Walmart, all those crappy jobs where you hated your boss, all the good jobs you had, we got along with, you're always learning something. And all those skills and all those experiences is going to inform you and help you when you start to doing the things that you really want to do, because you get a pull from different places about, I understand this on a different level that other people might not see, So keep being you, man. Keep being.
I actually got a question for you.
All right.
What do you do? Because for the 10 years I've known you, I've always wondered, what the hell does he do? I mean, I remember you were doing skits on YouTube. I forgot this one skit that you made. It was hilarious. But I know you were doing a lot of skits in your car, because I guess you were doing Uber or something at the time, or Lyft or whatever. And so I remember this one skit. But yeah, but what do you do though?
So I guess I do a lot of different things. I mean, I've had loads of jobs over the years and worked in many places, and not liked most of those jobs at all. But I drive a cab. So I do that to earn money.
Okay, that's what's up.
And that hope that kind of pays for my lavish lifestyle.
I dig it.
So yeah, I do that. But I also do some other stuff as well. I do occasionally. I might appear as a extra in a TV show or a movie. Occasionally do some remote game testing. I probably just pimp myself out when it comes down to it. I just find stuff that I can do, and that some of it pays, and just do that. So yeah.
No, that's what's up. That's good. So you telling me I'll probably see you like in the background of a TV show or something?
You might have already seen me in the background of a TV show.
I might have. I might have to keep a lookout.
For sure. Okay, that's what's up. You wouldn't recognize me. I'll be a blur somewhere, or maybe just see my elbow or something.
I recognize that elbow.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, that's what's up. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because I'm like, man, he's, I just from like the videos I've seen, like, throughout these times knowing you, like, I just know, like, you branch out, like, you have a lot of connections to a lot of things. I'm just like, how does he do it? So I was just always curious about that. So.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like yourself, like, it's, you kind of move from one thing to another, and like you say, the kind of creative thing about trying different things, and that kind of branches over. I know it wasn't the last job I had, but the last job that I was at for a long time, and I remember when it came to leaving, it was a whole bunch of things I kind of led up in that last year that and I just I just need to be out of it. I just can't be here anymore. And I didn't have anything planned of what I was going to do next, and I have another job to go to. I just knew I couldn't be there anymore. And one of the things that I remember thinking at the time was that I don't know how much time I've got left in terms of life. No one knows how long they're going to live for. I don't know how much energy I've got left, but I do know that whatever I have left, whether it's a little bit or a lot, I have to spend it doing things for me. You know, and that was kind of the main kind of driving force. And to be fair, I haven't always stuck to that principle. Definitely fell off a few times. I had to kind of remind myself of things. but yeah, that was kind of the main things. Like, I have to spend doing things for me. If I have to get a job somewhere, cool, but it has to be a job that serves me. You know, whatever I do, it has to be something that serves me and the way I want to live, and not just working where, because I feel like I mean, we're kind of getting all kind of different examples. One of the things I feel like I've realized is that any job you have, even if you hate the job, like, because most jobs are going to suck, to be fair. So even if you hate the job, there's always going to be something you can get from it. But the problem that I had, I didn't really realize at the time. I was just kind of like getting in, you know, all the, you know, people's and their attitudes and the way people are and this, that, and the other. And it just kind of, and I can look back now and know that I didn't handle it as best as I could. Not to say that it justified things going on, but I know that I didn't handle it as best as I could have. So yeah, maybe I'll do things differently if I was given a chance again. But then also everything happens for a reason, and had I not left there, maybe I wouldn't be here. So you kind of have to look at it that way as well. That all these things inform you. And there's no point looking at the past about, oh, I could have done this, I had have known that, or I should have done. But it's just done, and
you just move on.
It's all informs where you are now. So yeah, whatever energy, whatever time I have left, it's like, yeah, it's gonna be focused on me, you know. It sounds selfish. It is, you know.
That's how you got to be sometimes, you know. That's,
for real.
It's still your life, you know.
At the
end of the day, like, no one's really gonna, you know, reach out for you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to put in, you know, the work in for yourself. So
no, for sure. And I do feel like being selfish is one of the best ways to be selfless. Because I mean, we kind of get into semantics here, but I will say there's a big difference between being selfish and being inconsiderate. You know, and being selfish is, you kind of have to be. You have to look out for yourself. You have to take care of yourself, because when you do that, you're in the best position to take care of others. So it has to. You know, you're always going to be the most important person in your life. So you have to make sure you're healthy. You got to make sure you're mentally okay. You know, you got to make sure you're as good as you can be. And when you do that, you're in the best position to be of use to other people. So. Yeah, be selfish.
Yeah,
be selfish.
Indeed, I agree, for sure.
But yeah, I think that'd be a good place to wrap up the conversation. Mikey, I think. Mikey, I suppose. Mikey, I guess. But yeah, appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me. You know, big up to you. Big up to everything that you do. It's good to see you posting stuff on YouTube again, even whether it's old videos, new stuff. You know, just good to see you doing something that's, you know, creative and something that you enjoy doing. And whatever you decide to do next, you know, man, I'm sure it's going to be great. You know, you've got all this experience now. You're about to get a whole much more experience with the military. So yeah, I think whatever you do next is going to be amazing. So yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate everything that you do. So thank you.
Nah, man, I definitely appreciate you, man. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, if it wasn't, it might have been small, like, you know, seeing your comment, you know, like 10 years ago. But I feel like that definitely drove me to at least do a little bit more. You know, I feel like it's like a butterfly effect. I can never say that word for some reason. But I feel like, you know, that kind of like led to certain events in my life, just seeing that simple comment. You know what I'm saying? So I actually got to thank you for real. So, and you know, I'll never forget doing. I remember we did I did an interview of you and also Physical Gamers.
Yeah.
I'll never forget working on your video, and it meant so much to me. It meant so much to me, man. Like, I don't know, it was just, I don't know why. It was amazing just to have that opportunity just to even put something out like that. Which, by the way, it's still up. It's just, it's unlisted, but I still have it up in case you ever want to see it. But I just appreciate you for real.
Oh.
So,
wow, if I've been a small part of your journey in a positive way, I'm glad I could do that. But I mean, all good is from God. Only mistakes are mine. So I mean. Let me not get too big-headed. You know what I mean?
hey, it is what it is, man. You deserve it. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, 10 years. It was another 10 years, I guess.
Man, 10 years. And you said, what, 13 at the time? Shit,
You know what? I think I have the actual email when you first messaged me.
So I messaged on a 13-year-old's video. That does not sound good, does it?
It's funny. It sounds bad when you put it that way, but it is what it is, man. Hold on.
Shit, man.
I know I have the exact. I might still have it. Let me see. Damn. I'm gonna take too long, but I just want to see if I can find it real quick.
Nah, that's all right.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna find it. It might take me a minute because I have so many. Oh wait, hold on. 2015. Oh, and they might have deleted it. Yeah, because the very last thing I have is. Oh, I found the email of that little girl, the Last of Us video.
Oh yeah.
And then yeah, here we go. It was the questions that I had for you for the interview. So it is what it is, but
yeah, so good.
But yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah, no, if I've done anything that's helped you, that's awesome. But I guess it's kind of one of those things that you never know what kind of impact you have, I suppose. And I saw you had this before, like just be kind, because you never know what people are going through and that kind of thing. And it never hurts to just give a positive messages, and you don't know where it goes. Like apparently it helped you. Well, that's amazing. That is amazing. So if I've done that, then wow, that is amazing. Wow, be kind out there. Send positive messages. I guess that's the message.
Simple as that.
Send positive messages. You never know what it can do. You never know what it can do. So that is awesome. But Mikey, appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you. This podcast, I hopefully should be out in the next maybe couple of weeks or so. But yeah, I'll message you and all that. For anybody watching and or listening, thank you. And yeah, drop a comment, drop a suggestion of other people you want to see me interview and talk to, or things you want to see. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. So guys, until whenever, if ever, peace.